Hello, and welcome to the latest HR on the Offensive Live. It's me, Chris Howard from Lace Partners in the Lace office, joined by our founder. It's Mr. Aaron Albury on today's live stream. Aaron, you all right?
I'm all right, Chris. How are you? Good to see you.
I am okay. I'm excited to talk about this one today because it's a future-looking podcast. It's a live stream. It's a future-looking live stream on a campaign which we will be shortly launching. So I just want to tease a few of the watchers of this video today on the actual campaign itself and get a little bit of background from you as to why we've decided to run this campaign. So I think I'll call up the name of the campaign first, and then I'm going to let you just freestyle more than anything else. We're calling it Driving Business Transformation, but of course, it's not just about business transformation as a whole. It's about the importance that the people function, or the HR function, or the chief people officer, or the CHRO, like the importance of the role that they play. Yeah. So I guess my first question, just to kind of ask you, why we've decided to run this. That's it really. It's why have we decided to run this, and why is this important and topical now?
That's a great question. And it's, as you say, it's an exciting topic to talk about. We, as we've talked about on other streams, I think, and certainly on our podcasts, spend a lot of our time with CPOs and CHROs and discussions. We have our own forums and networks and all those lovely things. And one of the things that has become really clear over the last couple of years has been the increased value that businesses are putting on CPOs and CHROs to form and make and drive business transformation right from the start, shape it, define the strategy, define the outcomes, and then in a lot of cases now actually take point as the C-suite exec responsible for a lot of that business transformation. And it's exciting, and it's one of the things that comes up most often in conversations with CPOs. Both from a conversation around the kind of changes they're dealing with, some of them divesting, some of them acquiring, some of them transforming their business structures. And all of those have a people impact. And since COVID, that has really risen up the agenda for CPOs and CHROs and their functions. So that's really why we're sort of pushing on this agenda, really, and this campaign.
Yeah, and I want to just probe you a little bit on the why this is important, particularly because of some of the conversations that you and obviously Julian, who's in our team, have been talking about with regard to the importance of capability, capacity, and mindset as well. Because I think it's important to call out, and I guess my question for you more is, how many businesses are doing this at the moment? And I think I've kind of led the witness a little bit there, because maybe you can talk a little bit around the capacity, the capability, the mindset and alignment type approach.
Yeah, no, it's great. It is the conversation that we get into once you get under the skin of what they're trying to achieve as an outcome. There's very quickly a conversation that talks about how do we raise the capability in the people function, but also in our line managers and leaders to drive and lead business change. How do we make that happen? Especially if we're going to be doing it on a regular basis and a recurring basis, how do we increase capacity for those spikes of change that are coming? I think one of the really interesting conversations in this space is around the change of mindset that it brings to the people function. So rather than waiting for the business to explain what it wants to change, rather getting on the front foot and becoming part of driving the shape of that change right from the start. And some businesses are there, others are not yet. And certainly when we talk with CPOs, we had a session just before Christmas with about 15 or so around a table. I'd say 13 or 14 of those were undergoing significant business transformation programs where the people function were right in the forefront of it. So it's been fascinating to see how that's shaping out and how people are taking slightly different approaches, but just how much the business is pulling and leaning on to the people function to make this business transformation happen.
Yeah, and I think another thing that I'm quite interested just to explore is the importance of having that voice at the C-suite is as well, because I think that's a key part of this, isn't it? It's about the CPO, the CHRO being able to be up front and center. So maybe can you just give a thought or two around that importance from the C-suite perspective?
Yeah, no, I think there's a lot has changed in the last 5 years, right, since COVID, not least the position of CPOs and CHROs at that C-suite table and the proven value that they can bring at a short notice to business change. But I think also, we're a business that also loves to talk about data, right? We talk about this a lot, data-driven decision-making in HR and how important it is. And I think that is one of the noticeable changes is this getting under the skin of the type of change that is required on people when you're going through a business transformation, whether that's new skills, new capabilities, whether it's new leadership style. Maybe you're taking an organization that has for years been focused on productivity and outcomes and trying to transform it into one that is more agile and growth driven. And there's always a strong people agenda to that, and understanding the data that underpins that helps those discussions at the C-suite level, certainly.
And I want to talk a little bit around, I know you, Julian, have talked about this. I'm quite keen to explore this as part of the campaign. This idea that transformation isn't a one and done thing. Yeah. It actually, you talked about it before, this idea as transformation becoming BAU. So can you expand on that a little bit?
Yeah, I think, we created a paper last year in 2024, where we went out and talked to a number of people, CPOs, business transformation directors, as business leaders, to understand this whole point around people-driven business change. And we talked around that agenda, around how it is driven by the people directors and how their organizations need to drive that solution. And one of the big points that came out in that conversation was that this is no longer just a one transformation for the next 5 years. And you get through that, and then you all relax and go back to the way it was, and hope that doesn't happen again for a while. Almost every one of those people we talked to talked about continual change now as part of their business, and how mindset, resilience, embracing change as an agenda was critical to their business success as they went forward. And again, clearly, most of that is in the remit of the CPOs and CHROs to really influence how business takes that on.
Yeah, and of course, what we'll do is, if you want to find out a little bit more about that white paper that we put together last year, I've just put on the screen lacepartners.co.uk/insights. If you go to the white paper section, it's called CPOs Workforce Transformation, and you can download that anytime you want and have a little read. That's almost our sort of prelude to this wider campaign that we're putting together. But we're just coming up towards the end of this short live stream, Aaron. Just a quick one. Can you give any kind of final thoughts as to kind of what people can be looking out for this campaign over the next coming months that we'll be putting it together?
Yeah, I think quite a lot of exciting elements to it. We've got some events coming up for those who are CPOs or CHROs facing into business transformation. If you're interested in that, please sign up. You can find that on our website as well. So we're having a number of discussion forums, events around this, getting practitioners together to talk about what really makes the difference around a successful and sustainable business transformation. Sustainable transformation is one of those big things. We see it all the time. People have transformed organizations and then it bounces back to how it was before, rather than changing to the way they want it for the future and sticking. And that'll be, I guess, one of the big topics we talk about in this. So as I say, more papers to come out on this as well. I think we'll be sharing some of the insights we gained from those discussions, Chris, and how they shape up. And I think, there's no silver bullet to any of these things, but certainly there are a lot of lessons that people have learned the hard way that we want to distill out and share with the listeners on these kind of events.
Yes, and so that's it. Just a quick overview from Aaron and I. As I say, we've got this campaign which will be launching in the coming days. It's called Driving Business Transformations. I've just put it up on the screen. Look out for it on the Lace Partners website. You'll see a whole host of content that will start to come out over the next couple of weeks. And as Aaron mentioned, we've got some events as well. If you're interested, just reach out to either Aaron or myself. Look us up on LinkedIn or drop us a note. You can actually email info@lacepartners.co.uk if you want to, or chris@lacepartners.co.uk if you want to have a chat. But thank you very much, Aaron, for spending a bit of time with me today.
Enjoyable, thank you.
And hopefully you've enjoyed this. And again, if you want to reach out to us about the campaign, please feel free to do so. But from myself and from Aaron, thank you very much for watching. And we'll catch you next time on the HR on the Offensive Live. Bye-bye.